Hi, this is probably one of the most complicated fursuit tails I've ever got commissioned for. So I'm just gonna bring you with how I made it, and if you want to make a tail similar to this, you can use this somewhat as a tutorial. So let's get into it. First, you start out with some paper that I like to glue together to make a bigger piece. This is what I use to trace out and cut a pattern. This is what mine looks like if you want to use it for reference. Reminder, please do not copy this design. This is a commissioner's and this is not yours. You're gonna end up with two pieces that I like to cut in half so it's easier to trace onto the fur. Then when you get your fur out, just trace out the patterns and cut them out. They should end up looking somewhat like this. Shortly after that, you're going to sew the big and small pieces back together, and then you're going to get the two different colored pieces and sew those together. I like to use the blanket stitch for it's really strong and helps the tail not fall apart. Now you'll have two large pieces of the tail. One will be white and black and one will be black and white unless you choose different colors. You're going to want to sew those two different pieces to each other, which will make the whole tail. Now I'm cutting out the spikes that were in the original design. I like to do this after sewing these two pieces just so I can sew them in while I'm sewing those together. This process does take a very long time because you have to cut out 10 different spikes in different colors. They'll end up looking something like this, but that's not enough because I will have to shave them down. I did not have black and white minky fur, and to make sure the tail wasn't super expensive, I had to improvise and use the black and white fur and pretend it's minky fur almost by shaving it down, which also took a very long time. But once you're finished with that, you're going to want to sandwich the two little pieces together and sew that. You'll get a tiny little spike, and once you sew all of the spikes together, you're going to want to put them on the tail, which is how you're going to want to sew it. I put it on my pattern on where I wanted it to be spaced out, which you can do too. This is how I like to sew it in, which also there's a tutorial on my last video. And here's the whole thing inside out, very cool. So we're just going to flip that inside out, or back I guess. And then this is what we get, very fluffy, very cute, but it's also flat. But now we need to work on stuffing it and adding the little disc where the belt loop goes. I just used this type of foam and then cut a circle out of it before gluing it in and also gluing a minky piece, which will be the belt loop, and sewing that. So here's the finished tail. And this is how it ended up looking. I really like it. I had a lot of fun making this, and if you make a similar tail following this tutorial, feel free to tag me. I would love to see them. And thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.